And we're ready to go. Vitality versus Red Reserve. We costed quite a bit of Vitality last week as well. And well, it's a pleasure to keep on going. And now, of course, I've got the man who hasn't changed in several years, despite what someone else might tell
No, not
you. It's
just at
Tom
all.
is right here with us in the broadcast.
I got the same hair as when I was a baby. Like I literally have not
That's
changed.
true.
Like, it's a style choice, obviously. I was definitely not attacked by a lawnmower when I was a child. Either way, I think we're going to be going into our pistol round and more Vitality, more Viva la France, and with a little bit of Britain in there, of course. And yeah,
Never
I expect
forget.
them to take this one. Red Reserve, they have fallen quite far, but I always have a little bit of love for Draken, so I'm looking to see what he can do, and he's going to be the first man in towards this B site, and he is just running around while his teammates tried to do themselves the work, but it hasn't gone so well. Apex trying to survive, but of course it's ZywOo kicking things off with a double and leaving the remaining players low. He's actually got a third, only one left. He's going to get knifed. Oh no, that's not the start you want if you're Red Reserve. Looking to maybe build some confidence into a match that I wouldn't say they don't expect to win, but I don't expect them to win.
That's a nice way of putting it. But what Red Reserve did over there, it's a really interesting, really cerebral strategy. It's what you do is that you take all 5 of the players on Terra's side, and the second that the clock actually like ticks down from the starting point, you all just go towards B apartments and you move out as quickly as possible. It's not something you see that often in Counter-Strike, but it's really smart. Right now though, they're trying to do the same thing over towards the A site where they're going very quickly. Draken though, they'll be able to overwhelm one that might actually get them the bomb plant with the second kill as well. Apex goes down, but the bomb plant's been denied. Alex and ZywOo coming in with one apiece, leaving Draken alone.
Oh, here's the man to do all the work so far. He's managed to get himself 2 kills and a bomb plant, which in this sort of round really isn't bad. This is a straight up eco coming in. Eventually Alex will be there to put him down. But yeah, bomb plant definitely going to give them a bit of a boost. Draken as well with the 2 kills plus bomb plant should actually give him enough to get an AWP. So that's something they definitely wouldn't have had going into this round otherwise. And that's the weapon you want to see him on. I definitely not the most consistent AWPer in the world, but he is the one that can hit some of the craziest shots. And that's why I'm excited to see him versus ZywOo come up somewhere within this match. It won't be happening straight off the bat, as we will still be having the AUGs mostly in play for Team Vitality. And, well, what is basically a full buy-in for the T side as well.
Well, T's are still going for their fast pace despite actually having bought up, so they're very quickly rushing out of Palace. Apex might be able to catch him off with a chunky nade, but he misses most of the damage. Grux has already found one. Apex responds onto Hampus, but now very quickly this site will be taking control of. That smoke has been missed though. That means Apex can push straight through it, move right back, and he's perfectly fine. The CTs might be able to get this retake after all, as those incendiaries are still forcing the T's off of the site. However, Grux, HS, and Draken too quick to take down a few more, leaving ZywOo in a 1v3.
And there's so much time. That's the sort of benefit of these quick pushes. The T side really aren't in any sort of peril. And, well, Cross actually giving them a little bit of space. HS will eventually go down. And it comes pretty close in the end. Draken down to just 2 HP. But either way, it is going to be enough. And Red Reserve are on the board. And unfortunately for Vitality, they don't really have the money to continue forward into this.
That's true. Alex and NBK both down to just upgraded pistols. NBK himself has got a bit more utility and he's being more wary, but I like that Red Reserve are at the very least respecting the power of the pistols and they're not pushing forward too hard. Now ZywOo still has that up, but he's positioned all the way over towards the B site, basically handling that side alone, but that means that despite these 4 players, it'll be hard to stop Red Reserve. Hey, now Hampus finds one. He's gone through connector to finish off RPK. Grux from the side will actually be able to take down NBK through the smoke as well. Apex is waiting and hovering. He's the last defender off this A side. They're all going to be coming by him very soon. He knows they're right above him. They'll be jumping down onto his head. Doesn't look like it. Draken finds Alex, but Alex has already managed to distract them for long enough that Apex can swing out soon after. Draken gets taken down, and Apex now needs to turn his sights onto the stairs.
Yeah, the rotation through the spawn actually not going to be caught by ZywOo and leaves Apex in a little bit of trouble. He's going to spot the push from HS, and the smokes actually helped him quite significantly, leaving it all onto safe. A nice snap from Apex will win the round straight back. Money now becomes an issue, and I think for me that the biggest issue there for the T side is just the time it took. I think they got bogged down too quickly, and you sort of watch that situation back and you think, oh, definitely could have just pulled out of that one, taken the 4v3, split them across the map, and had more of a chance to actually get the victory. Especially, you have to remember, they had short control. I believe they had connector control as well. There were so many options and a lot of time left. Either way, mistakes were made. Hindsight is always a powerful object to have, and so is the Hampus Deagle, a man who I've watched get many an ace with this pistol. We'll see if he can bring in some of that power once again.
And BK does find Draken, who is on the lurk, but this still leaves Alex, who's going to be able to molly this off. Seth picks out of the question, doesn't look like it. Seth finds that kill, but Alex is too quick, and he's already found one of his own. Alex getting the information he needs, so there's 2 players down in mid, which means that suddenly you're seeing RPK start to push forward a bit more aggressively. That MP9 can absolutely devastate, but HS has already broken ground towards that A site. Question is, what can RPK find? Seth is checking towards him, but he's not got enough HP to take that duel. 2 versus 2. With ZywOo on the AWP, you've got a great shot, but he misses his first one, and that means that despite HS going down, Grux with the Deagle still has a chance if he can just find one quick kill. ZywOo not quite revealing himself, doesn't know Grux's exact location either. They think he's rotating back towards B, and now Grux has found himself a Galil as well. 40 seconds on the clock, and he might just go for the plan, be able to defend it as well, potentially. There's no incendiaries. There are a few smokes and a few flashes, but let's see what they want to do. As Grux moves back towards stairs, ZywOo definitely caught him out. Grux as well spotted that elbow. 1v2.
A decent amount of utility as well is going to make things difficult for him to try and hold onto this round. Has found the clock quite low, though. ZywOo looking to try and edge back in, still with an AWP in hand, but they're going to look to try and peek him together, although I say that. RPK, a bit of a mistake. It won't be punished, although he doesn't actually have a kit.
He's got time. He's probably got time. Has he? Yeah, he has. Definitely.
Gonna be damn close.
Okay. Oh, never
he doesn't
mind.
have it.
He doesn't get it. Not in time. That's such a big mistake.
That was a bit of a mistake.
This was just that millisecond extra that you pointed out that it took for him to actually catch out Grux means that at the end of the day, they end up losing a round to Red Reserve, who were basically just relying on Deagles and a few extra guns here and there, which means that suddenly Vitality, who were just rebought on ZywOo, that AWP, now they've got no money whatsoever, and they're the ones who are on the force buy. So Red Reserve in a great position, also got those Mac 10s out to try and farm up some money. 4 players without head armor, definitely going to be some victims coming out to those SMGs.
Yeah, good opportunity here for Red Reserve to get themselves right back into this one. Footsteps of Hamp is going to be heard, and they're going to try and go in for this aggressive push onto the A site once again. MBK absolutely screwed, gets surrounded, and this faster play looking much better. ZywOo in the corner, though. He's got his trusty Deag in hand. We know what he can do with this weapon as well, and already removes the head of HS. Question is, that is such a risky plant. Why would you go for the open plant? The smoke now falls into CT, which would have covered them off. I say that RPK's boosted up, but I guess he expected Hampus to have his back from the Palace and just didn't. Gives an easy kill over to ZywOo, and now, well, the only real interesting players from Draken. He's going to jungle. There's no way ZywOo knows he's here. Absolutely none. Unless he's got some sort of psychic abilities. And with his teammates on the site, definitely could become a little bit more interesting now that they can look to split in. The thing is, though, ZywOo is now pushing mid. It's the timing somewhat gone, but Hampus will entry. Manages one. The rotation going to come back in, and the T's did know that he was around this area, or should at least, so you expect Draken to at least peek this spot, and will. Now it's left all onto RPK. The problem is, Draken's so low, but wins it anyway. 6 HP, a Mac 10 is all he needed. And Red Reserve, these are fine line rounds. Very close indeed, but they are still getting the victories. And although there is a slim argument for Team Vitality forcing this one, just because it's been so close, I hope they take the save.
I mean, I completely disagree with the force over here. You're just really... Well, I mean, the small argument over there, you're right, that, okay, fine, Red Reserve might not have that much money, which is why you can buy up, but at the same time, you're also just completely crippling your chances of being able to get a proper buyout soon with an AWP on ZywOo, and with the performance that he's known to really put up, that is the man you kind of want to rely on having an AWP. If you're not putting the most important resource in the game on him, well then, what are you really doing? But now they say, you know what, the man's so good, he doesn't need the most important resource in the game, he needs the second most important resource in the game, which is apparently scopes, which is all we care about in Counter-Strike these days. So he's got the second best scope one can possibly ask for. And he's going to be playing over towards that A site, more towards mid. That's a good place to be right now because he can just quickly sneak down, but it'll be hard to find those close range shots. Alex and HS have gotten a few kills here and there, but HS comes out on top and he will be able to move through with the second, goes for the third, but has to reload. Seth takes over instead.
Yeah, important flash coming out from Hampus to hand that kill onto ZywOo over, but PK has managed to get very close into this site. Left the planter blind at least, and now Draken's dinked up as well. A couple of low players, but HS does as his name suggests and pops the top of the tank. Now Apex. Oh, Alex, sorry. Gonna be hitting a nice shot. Them having one letter like difference is one of the most confusing things. I get that mixed up so often, but
I
see
just
if
rely on the capitals, man.
Oh, he's got good positioning here. The only man who wasn't low left, unfortunately for him, and well, it's looking like the T's are just about to get away with this. So the force doesn't work out. Still feel like it came too close for comfort considering the difference in purchases, but Red Reserve, they get their fourth, and now I think we will see the eco. And I will say that the one sort of argument, or another argument for the force other than the low economy of their opponent, is the fact that it does mean that with this force going into the next round, they'll get pretty much a flawless buy. They'll have the AWP, as you mentioned. They'll have themselves all the extra utility as well. So
what did Draken just do?
I don't know.
Draken just smoked off spawn, and now he's in another corner. I think he's having some technical issues right now, probably lagged out or something on those lines, but that makes no sense otherwise. Well, regardless, that's one less smoke to work with. Apex with the Deagles keeping an eye out, and he's actually going to be peeking onto Hampus. Now, Hampus did have that smoke in his hand, but Apex isn't able to use it to the fullest. In the meanwhile, NBK is the one to find one. HS trades away very quickly, but Saf's the man you need to keep an eye out on because he's got an eye on your shoes, and those shoes are bleeding out with bullets. Nice incendiary to force out a few more players into position. Perfect execution so far of this anti-eco, but ZywOo is making things a little bit less perfect as he's found two, and now he's looking for more. Hampus very low. Seth's got to be the man to take him down, but Seth himself had the bomb in his hand and almost got caught out. ZywOo sees one, needs to respond, and he gets it done. 1v1. ZywOo. Seth's got the utility, but ZywOo's got the crowd on his side. What crowd, you ask? Well, that's probably why he didn't get that kill.
Ooh, he still makes things interesting, and that's the most worrying thing if you're a Red Reserve fan. Is there has not been a clean round, like for either side really, but they've been so close. No matter what Vitality purchase, they bring it right down to the wire. Obviously, props have to be given for them in these sort of clutch situations, but at least in the last round, it never should have happened. They were in such a strong, commanding position. Now they come up against the 4x of Vitality, and Alex is even going to be picking up the secondary AWP over towards this B site. Not taking the aggressive angle, will be instead having a little bit of a peek into mid, and I believe this is actually the first time we've seen Red Reserve edge towards that B site. It's mostly been, well, other than the pistol, A site takes. Fairly successful so far. They are in the lead, but now we see this sort of peak coming in from Alex. He is going to get aggressive with this AWP, and there are multiple players waiting on the other side for him to aim at.
Oh, he misses a shot to the crouch peak. That's a problem. NBK, though, well, that's a problem solved for Vitality. He gets away with 1 HP. And that's the one you need at the end of the day. HS, in the meanwhile, does find Apex, which means there's more ground to clear towards the other side of the map. Now, you still have that double off setup, but you still need to prevent anyone from actually getting onto the site in the first place. Alex is practically a non-factor other than for one kill if he messes away in CT. That's why you see the rotate come through. But HS already in position to try and take him down. NBK has been caught out. Will Alex face the same fate, especially as he's flashed up? Goes for the flick, misses it, but now his location is now known to HS, so he has to reposition. Meanwhile, the tank is fighting, but the tank has been taken down, and ZywOo has been left alone on this B side in a 1v1. Seth going for the bomb plant. ZywOo can peek out, and indeed he does again and again. Red Reserve losing out with risky bomb plants and clocks that are ticking down far too quickly. HS alone versus 2 and 10 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, just gonna save in this situation. Obviously, money not good for Red Reserve whatsoever, but yeah, hero play from RPK, an important double. The fake was actually sold very well from HS, but I do fear that I feel that the Swedes together are probably like they have their own strategy, and he's been sort of thrown in to add a bit of a mix. Obviously, a very talented individual. We saw him in the sort of Penta days where they were very successful, and then from then on, like we've seen stints and so many different teams.
You're being too nice. Okay, let's be realistic. After Penta, he looked like garbage, and I'm glad that he's been. I
don't agree with that.
He really has a lot to step up.
I don't agree with that at all. That is you. That is you. I did not think he's like.
That's all Tom. That's what he said before the broadcast. He's like, God damn it, cool. What's this guy again? He was so bad on optic.
Okay, like moving on from the delusions of tea time, and ZywOo's managed to get himself the opener. More importantly, drop that bomb into the open. MBK's managed to find another, and the split him from mid doesn't seem to be working. A little bit delayed as Draken hopes to find one. And well, it's HS to get the only kill you see in this round so far. 5-5. And yeah, not the best situation. But yeah, to be honest, you picked the worst person to like say that, oh yeah, no, Tom is not. I'm a big fan of him. I've been casting him since I basically started casting. He was in the like old like Baltic leagues I used to cast.
This is how you know a player is not good. If it's me and Tom who are casting a lot of his games, that probably means he's not fantastic.
What do you mean? We've been casting ZywOo most of our games.
That's true. He's the exception to the
That's a terrible argument.
Apex now going down onto Grox, but Grox has got Draken there to respond. Nice grenade. Looked like it should do more damage than it did, but that's a CSGO for you. Alex now with the P250. Hoping to find someone getting a bit too cheeky with a boost up, but seems like that won't be happening. So far, the only cheek we're getting is Draken, who thinks it's a good idea to walk around with an MP9 and 15 HP. But you know what? It's Draken, and he can definitely get some stuff done with that, and we're going to hope for that. We're fingers crossed, because who doesn't like a good Glock win?
Oh, they're actually maneuvering themselves towards the B side, which in this situation is not a bad move at all. There's only one man up there. It is the tank, and well, a tank in that sort of position can block the way a lot of the time. We saw him get a double versus what was rifles not long ago. Now he even has the support of an AWP and a smoke going down. RPK maybe trying to bait them in a little bit with the noise, but other than that, it's not going so well for the guys on Red Reserve. They'll be shut down. Another 4-man survival effort from Team Vitality as they start to build up a bank. And well, that was basically something the Red Reserve were never able to do in the rounds that they won. But we do now have a buy coming back in for them. Yep. I actually hope that they send HS in as more of an entry, to be honest. Like, give him a chance to find those openers, because I think he's definitely the man hitting his shots at the moment.
Well, let's see exactly how they want to do things, but I do like that you're pointing out the fact that, you know, Red Reserve never really managed to get some money underneath their feet. So even if you look over here where they've just lost a couple of rounds, you're still seeing everyone has got no money. So if they lose this one, they're a little bit screwed towards the rest of the first half, which means Vitality is in a great position because they've got money as well. Keep that in mind, to actually just run away with this. They've got a double up. They've got money enough to be able to rebuy that if it comes to it. And then at the end of the day now, you've got Red Reserve with a little bit less utility than they would have had ordinarily, and more importantly, a considerably lower chance of actually finishing in a very dominant position in the first half. So Vitality really clearly outlining the difference in the anti-eco rounds, and that's one of the big things that, if you remember correctly, NIP changed and looked so much better. And when what was that coach? I forgot.
Threat?
Yes, Threat was added.
Oh, they're looking to go back to this faster A style, grouping up together. One lurker on the other side of the map would be Hampus. MBK looking to be overwhelmed, and there is HS this time, the entry for the team. That's worked much better. Found the opening kill. They have the site under their control. Lots of nades going in though, and ZywOo's actually going to be able to drop the bomb, and Apex, oh, he's the one to do it instead. Sorry, a double for him. ZywOo now gets it on the cross, and Oh, this is very problematic. The T's with such a good initial take, but have lost a lot of control. Hampus, HS combined. And somehow we've fallen into a 1 versus 1. A 2 versus 4 slipping from Vitality. Is Apex going to be there to try and close us off? Hampus baits him in, and what a fantastic round from him. 3 kills coming in from the connector. The second one, I didn't believe he was going to get because his opponent was watching that very angle, but that is what these guys can do. And, well, Red Reserve, they even scoreline.
Still, the problem is inherently that, like I said before, Vitality actually has a lot of money, so they can rebuy over here, and Red Reserve are significantly hampered.
It's an awful buy.
I don't know if... Well, it's awful. Happy? I said it. Happy? You can have that. There goes my fantastic analysis train of thought. Great.
Let's be honest.
Grux is going in. Let's just move on from this. Grux is going in. Seth is over here. He's brought down 2 of the Augs, and now you can no longer say it's an Aug-full buy. The rest of them will just be trying to save away in the A site. They're trying to maintain some semblance of economy. And that's really something nice to see. It's not been done all too much from either side so far. Very fast take of the B site. Got completely distracted by Tom's decisions in life. And yeah.
Ooh, hunting quite hard for these weapons. A good trade. T's don't have a huge amount of bank, so it's not really worth risking everything here. Although I say that, they are risking quite a lot. Is safe. He's got to get a safe distance away from that bomb. I think he will just be able to survive. Pretty damn close in the end, but it's enough. And the CTs will be able to keep their remaining 2 weapons. The fact is, though, a buy into this round again would be massive risk for Team Vitality, but they seem to be a team that are more than willing to do it and relatively successful in the way they do it as well. It's obviously, I feel like in the MDL, they are one of the teams which are sort of like overdogs in this situation. They should be winning a lot of these matches. They've got high individual skill, but I think if they take Red Reserve too lightly, they might actually get punished.
It's been happening so far, and right now it's in a great position, especially with HS starting off the round strong once again. Doesn't finish off Apex, so that's a problem. He's really going to figure out how to solve, because now his position is known, and Red Reserve, with how much they've actually been relying on him, seems like Vitality's got their number. Alex peeking out in mid, finds Draken. That's the op out of the hands of Red Reserve, and suddenly a lot of their firepower has been mitigated. That firepower is made up for to some extent by Hampus. But he is naded down significantly, and BK finding 1 as well. So at the end of the day, Vitality coming out very heavily on top in this trade, but they're going B where Zai was waiting for them. Zai Wu, how are you going to live up to your name? Nice and century out, great flashbang as well, but Seth is even better. He says, you know what, forget your utility. I've got a bullet to your head.
Oh, flank from Apex though. Quick him from behind. Hampus, I think he heard it, and that was important. That 1 kill is probably enough to end the round, but they do still have a kit and actually a reasonable amount of utility onto MBK and RPK. A chance to get back in. MBK managing to find that first. The Molotov even going to go onto the site, which will deny the plant just that little bit longer. And now both players are incredibly low. Hampus trying to hold off on the cross. Got himself a triple so far. But you can see just the time being wasted by MBK. He's burning it down. Now it's against him, and he spotted out Hampus, and Hampus is so low, he can't really afford to take the face. The fact is, he should know where the last is, and MBK with a 4K. A 7th round on the board. Probably going to try and retrieve maybe an AK or an AWP if there is one around on the map. I believe there is as well, so that's a little extra bonus for Vitality going into the last round of the half. But I have to say, like, a lot of what we've seen so far from Vitality, it's been off individual plays. Like, we've seen a lot of clutch plays, actually from both teams, to be fair. Hampus pulling in a couple of rounds based off a triple kill. It's been brawly, I think is the best way to put it.
See, that's fine, but at the same time, you kind of expect that a little bit more from Red Reserve. So seeing it from a team like Vitality, which theoretically has got this fantastic structure built around them, have got some, fantastic role players as well, they're not really showing what we want to see from them compared to Red Reserve, who at the end of the day are somewhat underdogs, one would say, in this. And, it makes more sense for them to be playing more scrimmy. So overall, slightly more disappointed in Vitality, more so in Zai Wu, and as I say that, he finds a ridiculous flick onto HS. And he's reminding us that, you know what, there's still half of the game left. Don't worry, he's bringing it on T side at the very least. But so far, not dead, and he's looking for more. That smoke leaves a gap, and he will be exploiting it. Draken's down and out. 5 versus 3. This round's practically done, and Apex will put the nail in the coffin.
Apex has been having a very good CT side, and Alex wants a piece of the pie. He's going to go for an aggressive peek onto short, maybe overfacing a little bit, and that's given Grux a chance to turn the tide, as now it sits into a 2v3, and still plenty of time on the clock for Red Reserve to try and make their move. Either way, they still have control of middle for now. We see in the connector Zywoo just waiting around that angle, as we do have RPK just holding up in the apartments. But the fact is, if he goes down here, they have a clear path on towards this B site. It's just whether or not it's actually expected. Grux.
Oh, he's checking.
Ready and waiting.
Crouch PK, but so unfortunate. Now on the site, flash down, but that smoke will allow him to get the bomb plant down at the very.
Well, Vitality take the half in the end. It is the turnaround after what was a little bit of a sketchy start and some sort of questionable rounds. A lot of force spines actually thrown in from the French side, but they do manage to make it work in the end. Either way, I'm going to be looking to see if Red Reserve can bring it on the CT side. Now, I know that at least in the hands of Draken and Hampus, we could see a powerful double AWP setup, which I'm hoping we will see brought in. Like, Hampus has always been a man to sort of throw in that secondary when available. And, well, we even saw some magic from him with the Deeg along the way. So definitely hoping for a bit of a step up there. HS as well has looked pretty damn good with the rifle. So, again, I'm hoping to see a little bit more from him in the second half. But the fact is he didn't perform particularly badly on the other side either.
I'm hoping that we can see a little bit more structure from Vitality in particular, because, like you mentioned before, they're really relying heavily on individual skill, and that could have been a very different first half. Red Reserve easily have gone up 9-6, if not for that NBK 4K and a few other plays here and there, which, particularly from Apex, not a man you expect to shine to the same extent lately with the way his form has been. Of course, it's a good sign going into the major that he has started to pick things up a little bit, and I'm kind of excited to see what he can bring to the table. But right now, excited to see what they bring to the table in this pistol round.
More interested to see what the T's do, because we saw a fairly, like, well, I want to say standard basic setup, and from the utility they've actually purchased on the T side this round, it definitely doesn't look to be the case. 3 smokes, 3 flashbangs, and 3 P250s alongside the more standard Kevlar and armor that we're used to seeing. So looking like a full-on A execute coming in from the T side, which should at least guarantee them a bomb plant, unless, of course, Safe can pull off some ludicrous heroics. The problem is, obviously, they haven't smoked off CT. They don't have enough smokes to actually do that with all the smokes they've thrown. The main way they're going to try and take this is normally by actually dominating it, but instead, I like it. They've gone for the P250s for the extra range. They have the delayed smoke to go down. And now they're just going to sit back and wait for the CT side to try and play this in the afterplant. This is brilliant.
HS moving forward with the USB, finds one, and that's the wrong way to start things off, because he's in a great position to find more, but RPK at the very least does respond, and now Red Reserve down to 3. Draken does equalize the score and goes for one more. HS looking to get 3 for himself right now. He'll need it, but it seems like Draken is doing enough of the heavy lifting. Will not quite have time to get the defuse in. But you know, the interesting thing over there is that Vitality, the reason why they went for the P250s is because they consciously leave CT open. So you're much more likely to be able to take the duel towards CT against a USP if you've got a few more P250s on board. I was actually wondering why they didn't just get an extra flash rather than going for 3 P250s, but it makes makes a lot of sense if you want to smoke off CT later on, and initially you're hoping to get a pick with the long-range weaponry advantage over there. So it's fun little strategy they came up with, but at the same time, you're really relying on there being very few players over towards the A site for that one to actually work.
Well, this round, very little invested from the CT side. Of course, looks like they're going to go for the early purchase, which I think when you have such a dominant AWP or at times in the form of Draken, and as said, I wanted to see the sort of double AWP setup come in with Hampus involved. I would have quite liked to see them actually force this round, eco the next, and bring that in. But I suppose with Vitality starting to build into this one, we've already seen a lot of force buys throughout this match. They're feeling that they want to get on the board a little bit sooner. Now, they have gone for a full stack over onto this B site, so with a little bit of probing, this should be sought out by Vitality, but they're actually going to push directly into it. Draken coming in from behind and manages to get one. The problem is they now know all the information, but the question is, can they do anything about it? Apex now down to just 1 HP. Still around that area is Draken, but he has been sectioned off by the smoke and has to try and come back in from behind. Even just one extra kill here will be more than enough damage created going into this next round. And even the 2 kills they've got is not bad, considering this was a flat-out eco. By the looks of things, he's going to try and hold for some sort of exit and get one of those juicy weapons that currently sit in the French hands.
Apex is so incredibly lucky right now, and just getting away with a single point of HP, and that could be a difference maker. Like you said, having to rebound 3 players is absolutely devastating. Now, the problem is Draken right now has only got 7 bullets, and at this range, the CZ is reasonably accurate, but you can always have some of those really weird CZ days. So hoping that doesn't happen. That's exactly what happens as NBK is able to take him down. Could have been a good kill for him to get if he had a different weapon, but unfortunately simply isn't the case.
Even still, you look at the money for Vitality and it's not the best. Okay, you got Apex and RPK with a little bit of extra money. And they do have 4 rifles going into this round, but it's definitely a more even scenario than you would expect for a team who's just won themselves a couple of rounds in a row. Of course, we do have the Glass Cannon AWP in for Draken, so still the chance that he can just go nuclear in one of these rounds. I'm liking the little mid setup they've got going. Not with much utility, so obviously trying to take a little bit of control into mid, and there are players ready and waiting on the other side. Grux, the one to take the peek alongside Safe, and it is going to be an early trade, but ZywOo, he just goes running out. He had the bomb in his hands when he took that peek. No fear on the youngster. It hasn't quite developed yet in his system, but the fact is the trade back from Hampus has given them an opportunity still, especially with ZywOo being so low.
Yes, moving through, finds Apex, and that means that suddenly it's all on NBK. He's found himself one, but it's a sloppy spray down, almost missing a few shots over there, making him a little bit more questionable. Has to rethink his decision to pull out that Molotov, will reposition himself, but from the side comes Hampus and might be able to catch up on NBK, who's not pulling out his gun in time, and Hampus will make that look a little bit more clean than otherwise. ZywOo, though, given the chance to clutch this out, 1v2, he's positioning himself into that direct one-shot headshot angle. He knows that with his HP, he doesn't really have a chance to miss it, and as I say that, he almost catches Hampus out with a knife in his hands, repositions, and is now keeping an eye out for HS, who's approaching from behind. ZywOo, 2 flashes, can't really be in a position to use them. He's moved through again. He's playing this so smartly. He can cover both angles, and he's found one of them. Needs to reposition, and now NBK, well, he's urging on his young star to help him out in whatever capacity he can. And Hampus, who decided, you know what, it's not worth it to go ahead against the Clutch Master himself, will go down, even though he was just trying to retreat. No survivors.
Those are situations he should never be able to win. Like, they're just... It seemed like at all times his opponents just didn't know where he was, up until the point where HS spotted him out over in apps. But even still, he gets that kill, and as you said, like, finishes off the remaining member of this CT side and puts their economy back down the toilet. So just going to be another pistol round thrown in. Of course, we're still yet to see any money built up over on the Vitality side, so there's still opportunities here. A couple of kills here and there can at least give a much better chance for a reserve to take this back if they do manage to pick up a round. And that's the big problem. They've got to start winning well, not I'd call them clutch situations. They're not even really clutch situations. They have the advantage. They're not the ones in the clutch. It's ZywOo. Either way, same scenario as last time. A full stack onto the B site. This time they've left Draken in a little bit of a different situation. Not playing so aggressive. Doesn't have his trusty CZ. By the looks of things, the T's are looking to do the same thing. Now, again, you sort of hope that maybe someone goes probing on the other side of the map. They are going to early clear off the ladder to make sure there's nobody there. But there's still 4 players on this site.
You know what they say, lightning never strikes twice, but Vitality sure as hell does. Gross wants to start pulling out the P250 in hand, gets a few chips in, but not the head that he's looking for. NBK playing things more safely this time around. That incendiary should have been enough to clear everyone out, but they all just retreat into the safety of the van. Seth now boosted up, sees one more, and he almost got that kill. Hampus, though, will be the one to finish off NBK. 3 versus 1. HS with a deagle finds Apex. And now it's Hampus with an AK, with armor, and he's moving through long-range angle. This could be big if he finds Alex, and indeed he has. 3 versus 2. HS as well coming in from behind that. Molotov won't be stopping him as he repositions. ZywOo is able to take him down. And now, Hampus, where are you coming from? What are you going to do? Because Draken has found an AK-2. Draken backing off. No armor, no HP, no utility. Only a hope and a prayer that he can keep this gun alive, but, well, RPK is answering that prayer with a bullet to the chest. Draken is down.
I think this is actually, although I would not call that a successful round for Vitality by any stretch, because the amount of damage that was done, I think that's where we see like a significant difference, because we saw a very similar situation with Red Reserve, where they were pushing into A, they got bogged down, they got stuck, and everybody rotated in from Vitality, and they decided to push through. The difference from Vitality was they pushed in, they realized everybody was there, they ran away, they got the bomb plant, and they play off the bomb. And although that started out, I think, as a 4v3 in favor of their opponents, they managed to win it just off using that bomb timer and forcing the CTs to push. Either way, a little bit lucky initially for HS, but that setup has not worked at all. They got pincered in from both top and bottom mid. Hampus, though, he has a chance. Now, Apex is going to go pushing in the flashbang so good that he has no idea that Apex has gone through. I think he was blinded by 2 different flashbangs there. Talk about effective flashes, and, well, Apex, he's just continuing on from what we saw in the previous half. Another lovely double, impactful at that. And we sit here 13-7. And what was the sort of hope when we sat 8-7 moments ago? Or even, I think it was 7-6 in favor of Red Reserve. Vitality have just put on the pain train. And, well, Red Reserve, they're looking out at this one.
It's really fun seeing Vitality peak together because they're just so incredibly in sync. It's like a nice little sea of dancers. But no, that's obviously some coordination that was missing from them earlier on in the rounds. And it's nice to see that they have at the very least cleaned up that act. And, well, they don't lose any players over there for that. A nice little reward. HS, though, still with the UMP. And he's in an interesting position, can get some work done if he finds those players who are trying to get their way through Palace, but now repositions himself for the execute that's coming his way. He wants to peek out wide, especially with the Molotov right behind him, and he keeps on spraying. Doesn't seem like he wants to stop, but that Molotov, well, he's down to 1, and NBK will finish him off. Apex finding Crux. Seth with the Eagle does find 1, but it's still a 2v3. Hampus, though, interesting position from him.
And actually, all the remaining players on the T side are somewhat bulked up. I think ZywOo has an idea. He definitely peeked back, and while Hampus, normally so prolific with the Deeg, is not going to hit a single shot. 14-7. CT's now looking for their somewhat last-ditch effort. They do have the loss bonus behind them, of course, but realistically, this is where they have everything they desire, all the utility. They could pull in a double up, but they haven't done it once, which is quite interesting for me, because like at least in the old sort of iteration of Red Reserve, where we saw it with like Twist and Hampus, like they were a deadly AWPing duo, and now Hampus just seems to be, well, past that. Maybe that's just the sort of realization of the AUG being so effective, but I don't know. I somewhat missed that double AWP.
I think they might miss it too right now. That's fine. Hampus. Well, mobility is nice to have. He's trying to get aggressive with those close range peaks, so maybe just the position he wants to play right now. He's hearing footsteps for sure, so he knows there's a few in ladder room. Interestingly enough, that means that the CTs feel confident enough to start pushing out of a main. HS might actually catch out that one man, but he's already found a kill of his own. And unfortunately, HS can't get the job done. NBK will be able to find one. Hampus, the only one to respawn, but Apex in the meanwhile has pincered HS and will find him on the retreat. 2 versus 4. Hampus very quickly denies the bomb plant, but I don't know if that still gives them the chance to keep going for this round. Still, they don't have too much else to work with, but RPK, long range, will deny that and will go on to kill Grux as well. Vitality just looked very dominant, very suddenly after having quite a few scrappy performances in the rounds past.
Yeah, I think this is where we're seeing the sort of the holes of Rev Reserve early in the season. Like, obviously, this has come up as sort of more of a like mix thrown together. I don't think like HS will be a sort of permanent addition to this team. I'd be very surprised. And on the CT side, he's definitely unable to do anywhere near as much. Draken, pure aggression, and it seems to be the aim of the day for Rev Reserve is just push mid, try and find an individual fight and see if you can get some kills along the way. But it has failed miserably. Both opening kills going the way of Vitality, and well, with no utility, no kits, and for HS not even any head armor, this is looking like a pretty bleak situation.
A little bit of a little ray of light coming through in the form of Hampus, who's done damage on 2. Oh, never mind. Okay, there goes that. On the bright side, HS is able to find 2 kills of his own, and that means RPK is now solo. On the less bright side, they don't really know his position, so he might be able to find that kill for free. The question is, are they actually keeping an eye out? Seems like they are so far, but HS now knows where he is, and Seth, well, he just needs to peek out and take him down. Red Reserve keep their hopes and dreams alive, but let's see whether or not they can keep this into, well, whether they can keep this into a nice little streak. Somehow find that slightly downfall with their economy, though.
Full AKs, no AWP. Makes me think that maybe we're going to see a bit of a faster play out from the T side, but could be the similar thing. They're looking for this battle in mid once again. The bomb actually with them, but 2 players up into apps might make things a bit more interesting. Apex, though, ducks in from below, and Grux is gone within the first few seconds. He's had a bit of a nightmare in this matchup, and, well, the only thing I can say is he may be about to wake up fairly soon as the end seems to be looming. Hampus, though, still looking to challenge mid alongside Draken, who picks off Apex from below, so at least evening up the scoreline for now. And actually, the bomb's somewhat stranded in middle. You see it scampering away in towards that top mid spot. Fact is, though, the T's still somewhat spread across the map. No real presence on either side, but they do look to try and rotate their spot now in towards that B side.
It's a good place to go to. HS is the only man defending, and HS, who had such a hot first half, needs to start putting things on the pan once again. HS dropping down, sees a shoulder, but oh dear, it's a shooting field, but unfortunately, this one shoots back. Zaiwu finds that kill, and now it's all on to Hampus, who's coming in from behind. If you can find Alex, and we've got a nice little pincer going, especially with NBK being as far as he is, but Hampus gets taken down, and that means that Seth and Draken, well, they don't have very much to do or very much to say in this round other than a nice little goodbye. RPK able to take him down, and with that, Vitality do win out. But you know, Tom, that scoreline may have seemed dominant, but Vitality sure as hell didn't. Some warning signs over there, but they were able to clean things up towards the end.
Yeah, I think it was definitely a bit more questionable on their CT side. A lot of sort of forced buy rounds that maybe if they didn't win, managed to sneak through. It definitely could have been a bit more close, I suppose, but they still managed 8 rounds. And then on the T side, I think that's where we saw the almost disjointedness of the team they were up against. Like Red Reserve, like HS just seemed a little bit lost on the other side, and I don't think their CT side was ready for the bombardment of Vitality. Either way, that is the first game of the day done, and I believe we have some unicorns facing off against a Sprout.
The best jerseys in town, but we're
Oh,
not
no,
going to
they're
get to
not.
see them yet. Maybe a little bit later on when there's a LAN or so coming on. But until then, go get yourself a cup of tea. Go get yourself some Mountain Dew, more importantly, because we'll be back very soon with the second game. Unicorns of Love facing off versus Sprout.